Okay, welcome back to my class. So we are discussing rural development of class 12 syllabus, and in the last class we have already discussed the meaning of rural development and the challenges or the key issues of the rural development. Today we will try to discuss various sources of the rural credit. So let us see. Credit, you are knowing, credit is needed for various purposes into the rural areas or by the farmers. Farmers, they need the credit in order to buy seeds, fertilizers, implements, or they also need the credit for some other purposes, or such as in order to meet the expenses of the marriage of their children, in order to meet the expenses of the education of their children, in order to meet the expenses of illness or some expenses at the time of festivals. So different purposes are there, or so to meet the debt purpose, farmers need the credit. So certainly let us see, there are the sources of credits are classified into two categories. One is called non-institutional sources of credit, and another one is called institutional sources of credit. So let us see what are the various sources of credit. Sources of rural credit is classified into two categories. One is non-institutional sources, another one is institutional sources. So let us see non-institutional and institutional. Let us see what is the meaning of non-institutional sources. Non-institutional sources of credit is traditional source of credit. Traditionally, so traditional source of credit is known as non-institutional sources of credit, and it is also known as informal source of credit. Informal, let us see that it is not formal, it is informal sources of credit. And let us see this non-institutional sources of credit provide the credit at high rate of interest. Let us see, I told you this non-institutional sources of credit, various sources of non-institutional sources of credits are there, and most important are the money lenders, or we can say big landlords are there. Then this agent traders and commission agents are there. Sometimes the relatives are there, and they used to lend the credit to the rural people, or especially to the farmers. So here let us see, when the this non-institutional credit is not supervised by any organization. There is no any organization or institution who can supervise the non-institutional sources of credit. No documentation and no collateral is required. And let us see, the farmers and the money lenders and the traders, as well as let us say the landlords, they belongs to the same locality, and they the peasants or the farmers or the borrowers and the lenders, they know each other, and that is why they do not demand, or the money lenders do not demand any documentation, or they do not demand any collateral, and with only on the basis of the relationship, their close relationship, they used to give the loan. So getting loan is very easy, but the rate of interest which are being charged by the non-institutional sources are very high. And sometimes let us see, these landlords or the money lenders, they used to manipulate the account, and let us see, sometimes the farmers, they are unable to return back the loan because the rate of interest is very high. And sometimes let us see, they have to sell the land to the same money lenders. So let us see this non-institutional sources of credit. Various sources are there. The most important is the money lender, second one is rich landlords, third one is traders and commission agents, and fourth one is relative and friends. So money lenders, you are knowing, it is a major source of rural credit. It provides credit to all rural people at very high rate of interest. So money lenders are providing credit to all the rural people for all the purposes. So this is a very major source of rural credit. So one data is there, during 1951 to 52, 93% of the credits into the rural areas belong to the money lenders credit. So money lenders, they play an important role into the rural areas. Second one is rich landlords provide loans to the small and marginal farmers at high rate of interest, just like money lenders. Rich landlords are also there. They used to provide the loan to the marginal farmers and the small farmers, and they also charge very high rate of interest, and they are also, let us say, manipulating the account, and they are also exploiting to the farmers as well as to the rural people. Third one is traders and commission agents provide credit to peasants on mortgaging crop at high rate. So traders and commission agents, they are also providing loan to the farmers and farmers as well as to the rural people. And what happened whenever they are giving the loans, they used to make the means condition that you have to sell your crops only to them at low rate, and the rate that is less than the market price. So that is also a kind of exploitation, and the rate charges by the traders and commission agents are also very, very high. And the fourth one is relative and friends. So relatives also, sometimes relatives and friends, they also used to let us say provide the loan facilities to the rural people, but they do not make any charges on lending of the money. So these are various sources. First one is money lenders, second one is the rich landlord, third one is the traders and commission agent, fourth one is the relative and friends. And another, the most important sources of the credit is in the rural area is institutional sources. Institutional sources, let us see here, this established by government. Institutional sources are the sources of credit which are established by the government. So also known as formal source of credit. This is called formal source of credit and provide credit at cheap rate of interest. When we will make the comparison between the rate of interest charged by the money lenders, traders and the landlords and the interest charged by the banking institution, we will find this the loan given by the financial institutions are very, very low in comparison to the non-institutional sources of credit. And this RBI supervises its functioning. So RBI is there that supervises the functioning of the financial institution providing loan to the rural people. They require documentation and collateral. Collateral is required. Documentations are required. Without documentation, without collateral, without giving the guarantee, and without giving the witness, the bank do not give the loan to the borrowers. So borrowers, they have to prove themselves. They have to show the property. They have to show the asset in order to get the loan from the financial institutions. Then possibility to make profit. So the financial institutions, they are also making profits by lending loan to the farmers or the people living into the rural areas. Let us see what are the various sources of institutional sources. So institutional sources of credit are classified in various categories. I have taken four. Let us see. The first one is the commercial banks. Second one is the regional rural bank. Third one is credit cooperative societies. And fourth one, I have taken self-help groups. So let us see the first one, commercial banks. Let us see. You all are knowing about the commercial bank, and these commercial banks are very important source of the credit to the rural people, because after 1969, when the commercial banks were nationalized by the government of India, then the commercial banks, they were bound to open their branches into the rural areas, and they are bound, let us see, to provide loan facilities, credit facilities for the agricultural purposes and to the rural people of our country. So commercial banks also used to provide loan for various purposes. They used to provide loan for short term. They used to provide the loan for the medium term as well as for long term. Long term, suppose we can say, in order to purchase the land, in order to purchase the let us see, the asset, different vehicles, etc. The bank used to provide the loan. Bank also used to provide the loan for purchase of different assets such as tractors or the threshers, or let us say harvester, or let us say different tube wells or pump sets. So different tools are used into the agricultural processes, and that tools or implements are purchased with the loan taken from the bank. Commercial bank also used to provide the subsidies to the farmers while they used to provide the loan. So commercial bank is the major source of the credit, and the charges, the interest charges by the commercial banks are low. Regional rural bank, let us see regional rural bank, and it was seen, let us see, the area where there is no banking facilities, the regions where there is no commercial bank, then in that area the government opened the regional rural banks. So regional rural banks were open in the area where there was no banking facility, with the aim of providing credit to the small farmers. Especially credits should be provided to the farmers with regional rural bank. So next one is credit cooperative societies. So rural people, they form the cooperative society. They registered under the government agencies, and they form the cooperative societies. So that what happened, whenever the people, they used to form the cooperative society, they have to collect the resources, and they have to open the society. They have to give the name of the society, and that society, let us see, will work just like the commercial bank, will provide the loan to the members of the cooperative society. So those who are the member of the cooperative society, they can deposit their money, they can take the loan from the cooperative society in order to, let us see, meet different expenses, that expenses incurred into the agriculture or into the rural areas. Sometimes they used to borrow the loan in order to purchase different types of asset, or sometimes in order to purchase the seeds, fertilizers, or some transport vehicles. They used to take the loan. So this credit cooperative society also provides the loan, but the rate of interest is low. It is in comparison to these sources. Next one is self-help group. Let us see. This credit is given from money collected by each member at very low rate of interest. It comes up as microfinance program. So let us see, self-help groups are there. In our country, we are knowing that maximum of the people of our country, they do not own the land. They are the landless laborers. They are the landless workers. They are working into the rural areas. So they also need the loan in order to let us see, or develop different productive activities, or for different productivity activities, whether it is related to the farming or related to the non-farming. So these rural people, they used to form, because previously when they were going to the bank were asking documentation, collaterals, then they were, let us see, not getting the loan from the banks. Then what they did, they started forming the groups. So 15 members or 20 members, and into the hill area, the 10 members, they form the group, and they firstly collect the amount of money, and that money, let us see, is available for giving loans among the members. So if suppose, so that self-help group, they have to open their account into the bank also, and whatever the money is collected and by the members, that money is deposited into the bank. So when they will perform that nicely and for long period of time, if the banking institutions are satisfied with the performance of the self-help groups, then bank also used to give the loan to the self-help groups, and then that self-help group, let us say, they have to that members of the self-help group, they have to take the loan, and they have to, let us see, return back the loan to the bank, but the rate of interest which are charged is very, very low. So in case of self-help group, no collateral is required, because loan by the bank sanctioned with the name of self-help group. So this nowadays has come, and it has emerged as the microfinance program. Nowadays the microfinance program, different microfinance programs are working in our country, and the people of our country, especially into the rural areas, they are benefited with the microfinance finance programs. They are getting the loan easily, and they are using that loan for different purposes. In the rural areas, in order to open the shops, in order to start the dairy farming, poultry farming, or different fishing, or let us see different activities are undertaken by the people of our rural people into the rural area with the help of this loans taken from the microfinance or under the microfinance program. I think this concept is clear to all of you. Let us see the sources of credit. Rural credit, there are two sources. One is non-institution, another one is the institutional. Non-institution is also called informal source of credit, and institutional sources is known as formal source of credit. Here the rate of interest is high, here the rate of interest is low. Here the documentation, no collateral required. Here the documentation and collateral is required. Here let us see, there is the exploitation of the rural people, we can say, by the traders, farm and money lenders or landlords. But here there is no such exploitation made by the banks and the bank implies. I think the concept is clear to all of you. Okay, thank you.